Have you ever looked around at the world today and felt like something is off? Like the pace of change is too fast, the chaos feels too familiar, and somehow it all seems to match something you heard about a long time ago, maybe from your grandparents, maybe from a sermon, maybe from a book you read as a kid. That feeling isn't random. It has a name. It's called the signs of the Day of Judgment. And today we're going to walk through them together, calmly, logically, and honestly. Let's start with something simple. Every major event in history has warning signs before it happens. A storm doesn't just appear out of nowhere. The sky darkens, the wind shifts, the birds go quiet. A war doesn't just start overnight. Tensions build for years. So why would the end of this world, the biggest event of all, be any different? It makes sense that there would be signs, small ones and big ones, leading up to it. That's not superstition, that's pattern recognition, the same thing scientists use every single day. Now, the signs are usually divided into two categories, minor signs and major signs. The minor signs are the ones that happen slowly, over long stretches of time, almost like a countdown clock ticking quietly in the background. Many of them, honestly, have already happened, and some are happening right now in front of our eyes. Think about this one. People were told that time itself would start to feel like it's speeding up. A year would feel like a month like a week like a day. Now, be honest with yourself. Doesn't that feel true? Remember how long summer vacation felt when you were a kid? Now think about how fast the last 5 years have gone by. That's not just nostalgia talking. That's something people have noticed across generations, across cultures, everywhere. Another one talks about people competing to build the tallest buildings, even in places that once had nothing but sand and desert. Think about that for a second. A few decades ago, could anyone have imagined a desert city having the tallest building on planet Earth? And yet here we are, glass towers rising out of the sand, each country trying to outdo the next. That's not a coincidence you can just brush off. There's also the sign about knowledge increasing while true wisdom decreasing. Look at where we are. We carry more information in our pockets than entire ancient libraries held. A kid today can learn quantum physics from a phone, and yet somehow people feel more lost, more anxious, more disconnected than ever. We know more, but we understand less. We have more ways to talk to each other, but loneliness is at record levels. That imbalance was described long before smartphones even existed. Then there's the moral side of things. People were warned that honesty would become rare, that trust between people would break down, that greed and materialism would take over hearts. Look at how normal it's become to lie for personal gain, to chase money at any cost, even at the cost of family and friendships. Look at how often people say, trust no one, like it's just common sense now, not a tragedy. There's also mention of widespread killing, so much so that the person committing it and the person being killed wouldn't even know why. Turn on the news. Random violence, mass shootings, wars with no clear purpose, people harming strangers for no real reason. Sadly, that description fits disturbingly well. Now, here's something interesting for the more scientifically minded among you. There's a description of time and distance shrinking, of people being able to travel from one end of the earth to the other in what would have seemed like the blink of an eye to earlier generations. Someone living 1,000 years ago would have needed months to cross what a plane now crosses in hours. That's not poetic exaggeration. That's an accurate prediction of modern travel made long before airplanes existed.
These minor signs aren't meant to scare you. They're meant to wake you up gently, like an alarm clock that goes off quietly before the loud one. They're reminders, not threats. Now let's talk about the major signs. The Big 10, the ones that haven't happened yet, but that come one after another like dominoes, unmistakable once they begin. The first major sign involves the appearance of a false figure, often described as a one-eyed deceiver. Someone who will claim to have power over life and death, who will perform incredible tricks and illusions that most people won't be able to explain, and who will call people to follow him instead of truth. Think about how relevant that warning feels today in a world of deepfake that can convince millions of something that isn't real. The warning about being deceived by appearances has never felt more necessary than it does right now. After him comes the descent of a righteous figure sent to correct the deception, to bring justice back after a period of chaos. This is often described alongside another major event, the emergence of Gog and Magog, ancient peoples who will spread across the earth in overwhelming numbers, causing destruction on a scale the world has never seen. Interestingly, historians and geographers have spent centuries trying to locate ancient walls and barriers built specifically to hold back a mysterious enemy from the north and east, a detail found in multiple ancient texts and travel accounts, completely independent of religious sources. Then there are the signs involving nature itself turning unusual. 3 great sinkings of the earth, one in the east, one in the west, and one in the Arabian Peninsula, along with smoke that will cover the sky, and a strange creature that will emerge and speak to people directly. And finally, the sign considered the point of no return, the sun rising from the west instead of the east. After that sign, we're told it will be too late for anyone to start believing who didn't already believe before. Now, here's the important part, the part that makes all of this meaningful instead of just frightening. These signs were never given to us as entertainment or a way to predict exact dates so we can mark our calendars. They were given as a form of respect, honestly. Think about it. If someone truly loved you, wouldn't they want to warn you before something big happens rather than let it hit you with no preparation at all? That's what these signs are. Not a threat, a warning, given out of care. And notice something else. Despite everything, the emphasis was never on fear alone. It was always paired with hope, with the reminder to live a good life, treat people fairly, stay humble, and never lose sight of what actually matters. The end of the world was never meant to paralyze anyone. It was meant to refocus them. So, when you see the state of the world today, when you see the confusion, the fast pace, the moral shifts, the technology, the conflicts, don't just see chaos, see a pattern that was described long before any of it happened. A pattern that lines up piece by piece with what we're witnessing now. That kind of consistency across centuries, across generations, isn't something you can simply wave away as coincidence. It's something worth thinking about. Not with fear, but with clarity, and maybe even a little bit of peace, knowing that none of this was ever a mystery to begin with.